Welcome to the Raw, Real, Reignited podcast, where raw emotions meet real life experiences. Join us as we dive into the unfiltered life stories of men who are reigniting their lives, sharing their struggles and navigating a path forward from the highs and the lows to the triumphs and setbacks. We'll explore what it means to be a man in today's world. Get ready for honest conversations, new perspectives, and inspiration to fuel your own journey. Strap yourselves in to reignite our lives together.
G'day, listeners, men out there listening in. Welcome to episode 3. This episode is going to be another introductory episode. The other team member that we haven't introduced just yet is Sull, and we're going to go through that and go. He's going to give a bit of a rundown on his background and what he brings besides the jokes into the podcast as well with us. So he's got a lot of untapped knowledge. There's a lot of stuff there that he does know that we want to be able to tap into and really bring the wealth in from that he creates and when what he has there that he doesn't actually know that he's got. So let's Benny, Sull, let's get started and we'll bring Sull in and he can get there and really put out just really fill us in on what it is that makes him tick, where he came from, and then we can go from there.
100%.
Yeah, no worries. How you going, guys?
Good.
Good, Sal. Good to
I'm
see you,
on
mate.
I'm on the spot today, so I'm ready to go. Let's go, Benny. What do we got?
Well, mate, I suppose we can start with, where you come from, tell us a bit about your upbringing and some challenges out as a young fella.
Yeah, well, born in Canberra.
We won't hold
My
that
mum.
against you, mate.
Thank you. Mind you, born earlier than the Raiders came in, so had a few years to make me mind up. But before that was a dragon, believe it or not. But anyway, born in Canberra. My mum's Māori. Brought up with her culture. Dad's an Aussie. He was sort of an accountant. Had a business service station at one point, and then with mum, things went a bit pear-shaped with that, and he moved on to general manager sort of positions as I grew up. So life at home was pretty much dad coming home, mum doing everything in the home, looking after the kids like it was back in the day, because I'm 103. And that's the way I brought up. My mum is one of 13. So yeah, I've got a few first cousins there, and she was one of the first to come over to Australia from New Zealand and used our place in Canberra as sort of like home base for everyone to come and consort for, seemed like to me, weeks and weeks on end. I don't know how my dad actually did that, but he did and stayed true. And I pretty much from age at least 6 or 7, we had, heaps of cousins there nearly every weekend. And it was like couches on the porch. It was like guitars, the band set up in the lounge room, things like that. So it was, the culture was, no eye contact, which was pretty damaging, I believe, for a kid. Also, there was no, kids would be able to be seen, not heard, sort of stuff. So, and then you get a hiding if you went outside the box by mum. Nah, only joking. By an uncle. But it's just the threat there of it, probably a bit more scarier than most. But let's just leave that one alone for a while. Yeah, grew up. Went to school across the road. Had a normal childhood. I was always the small kid, a lot darker than I am now. So they used to call me Mud Boy at school. Then and the little, there wasn't too many Maori kids around Canberra, so you know, um, I copped a bit of flack on that being small, and all my cousins were big, so it was. I worked out that there was quite a period in my childhood where I sort of switched over into self-worth, and whether I were good enough, whether I were tall enough, whether I were virtually big enough to do what I wanted to do or play sport or achieve. So um, let's just say the mindset is pretty strong at that age, and I just went hell bent on running, training, trying to get bigger, all around the 12, 13-year-old mark. Um, trying to make these teams, which I did previously, but you know, getting in those teams sort of set a ceiling that always kept getting broken. So I was never satisfied with that. I always kept achieving, trying to achieve, which went on through into my adult life. You know, playing grade for football, and then having the opportunity to go to England and play rugby league, which was pretty cool. Seeing I weren't wanted at Canberra at a young age, or middle age, and that was a dream to head over there and play in England, which I did. But you know, things sort of grabbed hold of me there, whereas I grew up in an environment where you haven't really, like with your story, Drew, you hadn't really had an outlet to sort of talk to people about different things. It was just like, you know, was all kept inside, and nothing was talked about, feelings, emotions, all that sort of stuff. And it sort of came to a big closure for me in England when I knew that shit, this is the end of the road. I can't play here anymore. You're only allowed one import per club, and so I started going sideways and lengthening it out. Went to France, went to America, coaching and playing over there, and then eventually went back to the UK, and sort of had a bit of a moment there for about 3 months, going, "Geez, what's this feeling? I never felt this before." You know, felt a bit down, like everything was coming. You know, everything was coming to an end. That was the first time I ever felt those feelings, ever. So I came back to Australia 2000, and I grew up after school. I did a trade. I'm a glazier by trade. Did that in Canberra, and then came back to Canberra and thought, you know what, I'll try to get back into my trade and do that sort of thing, and coming back from England and living the life that I worked for the last 4 years, it felt like dead set or a drug addict on rehab, being in Canberra with everyone says, Jesus, there's nothing going on in Canberra. And you know what? First time in my life, they were fucking right. So the people that I know in Canberra are not going to like that. But let's just say, you know, when you're acclimatized to a new climate, you know, you get pretty cold or hot in either one. So I've come back to Canberra and just went, wow, okay, let me see what's going to happen here. So I had to move. So we moved to the Gold Coast, which is probably the most exciting place I would imagine in Australia to be. So, and yeah, I had my first child, Annie, on the Gold Coast. I'd been in a relationship with her mother for a good couple of years before I left to go to England. And then I came back to Canberra and reacquainted with her, and then we were off to the Gold Coast, expecting our first child. So that was pretty exciting. Growing up with a big family orientated environment, I had to be a part of that. I had to let go of opportunities to keep playing football in Australia. Had to reassess everything that I were going to do in retrospect to that, and I actually even had to reassess the relationship on whether that was what I wanted to be and where I wanted to go in that relationship, which ended 3 years after, well, maybe 2.5, 3 years after my daughter was born, which sort of culminated with getting the opportunity to join the cops in around the 2001 mark, and that was something that was very difficult from the schooling that I had, and also like academically, there was a lot of stress there before I'd started just to get into that course and complete everything. Added pressure of having a first kid and the relationship side of things, with a lot of push as well from mum and dad on that. So when I finished my first year, there was a police team, Australian police team, that I thought, you know what, I'll have a crack at this, and ended up going back to England. However, while I were in England, I ended up breaking my leg, and when I come home, there was no child or relationship anymore. She'd gone back to Canberra, and I left on my own broken leg. That caused a few dramas mentally, with the ongoing academic side of things, plus all the related trauma that I was seeing. Didn't really notice anything at the time, but a couple of years later, doing more police stuff and getting injured again, my current wife at the moment, Claudette, who I'll give a big shout out to, she realised that, geez, you're only happy when you're injured. So I'm going, it was a big one, because I didn't realise that the person I was becoming was still the person at work, and it transferred over into my normal life. Sort of things like, I'd say it's like the tone, like I'm putting someone in the back of a truck or something, like, do you want a cup of tea? Or, or what are you cooking for dinner? Like, and she'd go, you're not at work now, mate. Like, what are you fucking doing? Well, hey,
I imagine she would have let you get away with it either.
no, she don't. She don't let me get away with much, mate. Yes.
Only 300 pairs of runners a year.
Yeah, I know. I'm going to have to buy more beds so I can put more shoes underneath them. You know what I mean? I'm running out of space under the bed.
Let's get a bigger
But
shed.
I've just been told by Sam I've got to build another ensuite, so I can put my shoes in the current one, because the walk-in room's already full.
oh dear. Yeah, so running on that, people are probably going, what are you going on about shoes? But don't really, only just started running about 2.5 years ago, but we've picked it up pretty full on, haven't we, Benny.
Oh, well, you have, mate. I'm just a little slow fat kid that comes along the back.
But
Well, that was something I was going to comment before. So when you're talking about ripping in and smashing through glass ceilings and shit, like I've known you the entire time that you've gone onto onto the running, and mate, you won't even let a shit stop you. You go for one, and then you keep running in the middle of the bloody half marathon, and off you go.
yeah, that wasn't one of my finest times. But I'll tell you what, it was the motivation I needed at the time to go. Are you serious? Is this really, really happening right now? It was like a reality moment. And most people that we talk to in the group know the story. But first marathon ever, and I'm going pretty well at the start, and then go, oh no, what's going on here? Had to
Poopies.
ditch, had to ditch for a bush poo in the middle of the Gold Coast Marathon down the Hedges Avenue, which is the prestigious street in Australia.
Bro, and there's no bush.
Like,
You
yeah.
can't call it bushy, mate. That's a city.
And there's a bloke at home now, and he's listening to this, going, "That's where that came from." I knew
Mate,
it was gonna
I was just lucky there was a hedge and I'm that small, because if it was anyone else,
come.
it would have looked like that Matilda, that big Matilda kangaroo that I had for the bloody thing. It would have looked like that, someone else sitting like that next to the hedge, mate. So yeah, had a lot of troubles that day, but got through it and kept pushing. But yeah,
Literally.
anyway, where were we? We were talking about, I don't know where I were on the thing, mate. Help us out. Tell the story.
You go, Drew.
Nah, it's all right. All I was saying is because you were running in shoes, and you were talking about how you got into running, and then you've been picking it up and taking off with it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think I went back. I was talking about I think I was talking about when uh ended with a relationship. My daughter went back to Canberra, so I didn't see her um for nearly 3 years, I would imagine. Not see. I went down and back, and kept seeing her, and until she was 5, they're not allowed to fly unaccompanied um on the plane. And I don't know, my 5-year-old that I have now, I couldn't. Well, she's 9 now, but when my 5-year-old, when my 9-year-old was 5, when my 9-year-old was 5, there's no way I was letting her on a plane on her own.
Mm-hmm.
Which, saying that, it shows how mature and how much smarts my eldest is now. She's 24, which is Annie. Um, how independent and resilient she was at that age. Um, yeah, it was only because of that relationship had been grown from when we left, talking on the phone, reading books, all that sort of stuff. And then for her to get on a plane and just go, I'm going to see Dad at 5 on her own, no one on the other end, was pretty cool. Anyway, Annie ended up coming living with me on the Gold Coast. I rang up Claudette. I think I'd been with Claudette for a year, maybe a year and a half, and we probably only just moved in together. And I rang her up from Canberra, and I went, how'd you like to be a mum in about 3 hours? That sort of didn't go well. I said, I'm bringing my daughter home, and she's, mate, to her credit, she's just gone, wow, that's unreal. Yep, whatever you want to do, whatever you have to do, we'll work it out. So it worked out pretty well. And he came here and achieved, and just went from leaps and bounds. She bloody school captain, was like Queensland's aerobics champion all up through school and things like that. So then went into dance in high school. Yeah, she was a good oh, well, how do you say that? It's not like it's a trophy, but a good win for me to see her develop up into there, and then all of a sudden embarking on more children, Drew, more
Almost,
children.
I was going to say we're almost identical in the approach and the ages of the children and our ages and everything.
It was, and that was amazing when we met you in that other program. We went and had a coffee out at bloody Brickworks there, and
Mm.
we're talking away, and you're going, okay, so you're in a relationship with a non-biological of 8 years gap when you had your daughter. I went, yeah, and then now this is the same. I'm going, yeah, and few sort of what do you call it?
There's a lot of
Equals and
similarities there.
a
Yeah.
lot of similarities in relationships, mate, too, wasn't
Oh,
it?
yeah, massively. And we sat there and
Um,
wow, it blew our minds. It was incredible.
it did. It was. And then it's funny because that 8 year gap, it's like I've gone the 8 years ahead of that, and you're in the same spot as where I were 8 years before. And I'm pulling my hair out, going, far out. I
No,
don't
you're
wish
not.
that on anyone. I
Clearly,
don't
you
wish.
pulled too hard.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, those that they probably don't know who I am. I've got no hair. Well, anyway, most people known from years ago, they're going, shit, no hair Sull. But anyway, yeah, that was pretty cool. It was a funny period, wasn't it? My first boy, Jet, he was born. He was he was one of those. Shit, this could be anything here. He was born 10th of the 9th, '08. So he's born 10/9/8, and
Geronimo.
it's yeah. Well, it's big with the Maori culture. The firstborn son usually goes to the grandparents. So it was like Claude's going. He's not fucking going there. It's mine. I said, we're in modern age here. I said, you got no risk of this going to happen. I said, though, Nanny will have a crack. Don't worry about that. But it never eventuated. But yeah, Jet was born first with me and Claude, and then to oh the amazing things of how they go. She hates me to this day for this. So she was breastfeeding
I already know what you're going to say.
she's breastfeeding Jet, and 3 months pregnant with the other one, with Zach. So she just hated. Well, she still hates me. She still hates me to this day. But I dead set think that I think Zach was her doing. So we'll leave it at that. We'll leave it at that on a midnight attack. Rhymes a bit, doesn't it? Yeah. But yeah, two boys. I'm just going, wow, this is pretty cool. But let's just say they being 13 months apart, mate, it's like having twins. And I remember this is 2008. It was around the time where I had left the cops um, with PTSD um, and major depression. I struggled there for good 3 or 4 years trying to get sorted. Um, had a couple of stints few uh, in a few places to sort myself out, which wasn't an easy road, or wasn't somewhere where I was supported, so to speak. It was all pretty much on my own, in my own headspace and my own what do you call it? My own I don't know, help me out here. Just my own mindset to try and just to keep going, which there was plenty of adulation at times. Um, you know, like Drew had before. I'd I'd had a couple of stints in the toilet at the police station before this, sitting there thinking could easily do this, but didn't know why, didn't know how. The culture at the cops was, you know, you can't really speak up, otherwise you're weak, and that just enhanced me size and stature sort of stuff and self-worth from when I was younger, um, which supercharged, you know, my, I don't know, what do you say it? The way I looked at life and the way that I thought it should have been, um, what I expected of myself, what I expected I should be, or it just flipped it upside down on its head. And Claudette was the one that copped the brunt. You know, you never go into a relationship thinking that your partner's going to be broken. Plenty of times, but she had to put up with that. So she's my savior and all that. Um, the kids as well. I thank the cops um, for it, because the amount of suicides that I saw, the amount that the way that ripple effect affects families. If I hadn't have seen that, I don't think I would have been here.
Yeah.
So yeah, praise it for that. Anyway,
Yeah, it's unfortunate the environments we can get ourselves in, mate. Like, they can have a massive effect on where we're at. And luckily for you, it was a very positive one, mate. And
yeah, well,
I'm so happy
from
it was.
from those times, and getting through different stages, it was far out. It's like people say to you, how'd you how'd you go through? And I talked to even Drew. I said, mate, far out. He says, oh, it's just, one day at a time. Yeah, fucking bullshit it is. It's not one day. It could go to hours. It could be fucking minutes. Goes into minutes. Goes into fucking next cup of tea. Like, yeah, so it's pretty full on when you get to a point where you can't fucking make a cup of tea. You don't know the order the fucking shit goes in. Like your whole side of your brain or whatever just completely goes offline, and all you've got is like intrusive thoughts just coming in from everywhere, and you don't know how to stop them.
Yeah.
And being the people that we are, and we've never, you know, especially with drugs, never had much to do with those. Um, and you know, trying to stamp that out in the job. They never really agreed with me at all, and I couldn't really take much. My psychiatrist at the time actually goes, mate, what are we going to do with you? And I went, fuck, if you don't know, how the fuck am I going to know? Like, but he came up and goes, well, maybe you can get an assistance dog. And I went, fuck, this was the first sort of breath of fresh air I felt for a long time. And it was like, wow, fucking Sull plays footy, known for belting people and having that background, gonna walk around with a fucking dog like a CNI dog. Like, hello. That was a big thing to take, but it was probably the best thing that I probably ever did. Um, it sort of made you concentrate on what was going on at the time, sort of like the now, and not have you going into the past and future, being hyper vigilant with things, thinking about stuff, role playing in the background on what thought process, depending on what it was that come in that affected you. You virtually had to look after the dog because then the person that you were dealing with, which is yourself, you didn't really look after that so well. So the theory behind it is you look after the dog, ends up you've got to be accountable to the dog, feed it, clean it, train it. And then what that did is it got me out of the place, going to do different things with shops and starting routines, going into a shop, going, right, I need this, I'm going that way. I don't know, I spoke to Drew before, but there's times where, you go into a shop and you need jam and you look at the fucking jam aisle and you go, well, why the fuck is there 100 jams looking at you right now with different prices, and you're sitting there going, fuck me, Dad, which is the best jam? What are the fucking, this is what the sort of mindset I'm trying to explain. So with the dog, it was just like, okay, I've got to take the dog in, I've got to get jam. I don't want to look like a fuckwit with a dog in the shop. So it's okay. Which jam I got? Dog sitting at point on me left, sitting there looking at me going, and to me, I would say to myself in my brain, I'd go, the dog's looking at me going, pick a fucking jam, you dickhead. Like the dog. So talking to me. So that other people, that paranoia feeling, thinking that other people know what you're thinking at that point. And then they think, fuck, if they know what I'm thinking, they'll, Jesus, like craziness, right? So this is all the shit that goes on inside of, I don't know, the brain of someone that ended up getting what I got dealt with. I've got it slowly got it under control at the moment. Seeing a good psychologist at the moment who's pretty awesome. Been doing that EMDR therapy, which is pretty cool. I see him every week. And yeah, striving to, I don't know, compete, I guess, in the game of life. I do like to help people, which was a thing that popped up with us in the group where it's funny how you can give advice to everyone, but you don't give it to yourself. That's a funny one. But yeah, I always liked helping people. It's probably why I've had the cops, and I think I got that from my dad, who was always volunteering for different things. Things that we get up to, we'd go down to a home and give stuff away, or go to a rally or something like that. And he was always on that volunteer side of things and always giving, as the Maoris are as well. They're all about sharing and family and giving other people opportunities. And yeah, trying to get myself into a position through all these different things. Yeah, I realized that, I don't want anyone else to go through what I did, especially through all those times of bad times.
Do you think, Sull, that by you changing your mindset and reaching out and talking has helped you overcome a lot of your issues?
I reckon it has, and it continues to, because the platform we were in before, it did. There's a lot of guys in there that the different angles that I could talk to them about from what I know, really, really helped, and they could what's not sympathize, what do you call it when they
Empathise.
understand what empathize, yeah, empathize with you on what it is and how you feel and how your mind works in different ways. Um, and having tools and tricks to try and negate those feelings and times where you're going through bad. Um, it really fills me cup to try and help people like that. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
And
Mm,
it's, I suppose having the safe space to do it, especially in the group that we've got now, Reignite, it, it's much easier to express yourself and share feelings. Like when you're in the mainstream and you're working in the cops or working blowing shit up or working in the fireys, there's not a lot of people to fucking talk to. And I suppose finding a safe space and having people hold space for you is exactly where you need to be, mate.
mm. Yeah, it is. And the people I've met in here are like, you're like, when you meet someone, you know that these people are going to be there for the rest of your life, and that's exactly like you two. You know, the other guys in the group that I've met, there's a few that I know that doesn't matter what happens, they're always going to be there forever. You know, because you got that connection, and it's not the connection of running; it's the connection of having these talks between each other. You know, these big, deep talks about what's going on with your day or your week, which I sort of thought about the other day. Everyone says, "Oh, how are you?" And you go, "What, fucking 10 minutes ago, half an hour, a day ago, fucking week ago?" You know, no one says, "How are you?" It's just at the time. Of course, you're okay. It's nothing harming you or thinking about anything except what you've just been asked. Are you okay? Oh, yeah, at the moment, yeah, nothing's going to happen, I guess. But
100%, mate. 100%. Like I know when I was, sitting on top of a ladder and, you know, someone would drive in, so you'd get down and go and, how you going, mate? You're like, yeah, good. You don't
mm,
share it with, it's the environments we're in. I suppose it's your perception of what you think other people are thinking
mm,
that makes you go, yeah, I'm okay, because what the fuck is it to them? Do they really
yeah.
care?
But it, but is that being authentic to the people you're talking to, or we just got to be a bit more selective on who we're going to open up to, because we've already established that connection to be able to talk like that.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's a bit of both because you need that authenticity within yourself to be able to put your hand up and go, you know what, I'm fucking not doing too great. But
Mm,
then where you say you do need to vet who it is that you vent to or who it is that you share stuff with as well. Because as we've all found out along the years that you say the wrong thing to the wrong person and it comes back around 10 times bigger than what it actually went out. And then it makes it even harder for you. And then as we've all done it too, you just shut down. You don't talk to mates. You don't talk to anyone because then that breach of trust is there. So by having blokes that you know within an inner circle that not all experience the same things, but have experienced enough in life to be able to go, you know what, mate, I hear you. Let's have a chat about it, and
Mm.
not judge, and it's all safe and go righto, let's go. Makes it so much easier than if you go and tell Jimmy's sister two doors down, who's going to just even as the words come out of your mouth and your full stop comes out, you know they're on the phone to Jenny down the road and they're doing this and they're talking to whoever. So, and, look, they're just made up names. I don't actually know anyone like that, but um, we do know that happens to us. And you get there and you'll share something and it'll come back through another channel, and you go, well, that's it. That chat that's one port of call shut down. I can't share with them anymore because you don't know where it's going to run off to. So it's more learnt and lived experience in being able to utilize both of those attacks and go, righto, I know that I need to be able to say these things, but I need to know who I can say them to.
Yeah,
mm.
100%. 100%. And I suppose too, growing up and living life, you think you have, well, before now anyway, you think you have a lot of friends and a lot of mates that you can share with, and yeah, it's not until you get authentic people around you that you can trust and can confide in, that you can, I suppose, open up and live life, and it's having a safe space. That's why I'll keep plugging reignite as long as so I points to the ground, because it is a safe place, and it's where you might not speak to everyone in the group the way that the three of us will speak, but blokes, as Sam was saying, blokes within that group will find someone else within that group who they can go and talk to, who they can find a safe space, and that's what blokes need.
Mm. And even when we have our monthly ones too, which we've got one coming up tomorrow, which will probably be today by the time I load this, but we have that, and there'll be 20, 30 blokes in there, and it will be. I always try and aim for around that hour and a half period, but some blokes just get on a roll, and you go, right, let's go, because like, as you say, Benny, like you and I might not have that closeness with them, but they might have with 4 or 5 other blokes, so they're just into it, going, oh, this, and this, and then you just let them roll, and you sit on. That's where I like to sit back, and even with the chat, and there's days when, especially recently with like illness and death in the family, I haven't really been as involved as what I normally would be, and that's where you two boys have dived in, and a couple other boys as well, and really picked up the slack there. Um, it's been really good to sit back and watch, because the quality of guys that are in there, and the shares that everyone has, and the encouragement they have is there for the same reasons that Sull helps blokes, why you help blokes, why I help blokes, and even when you look back at our careers and things too, and Benny, like what you want to go through into a bit more caring roles and stuff too, like that comes from a deeper place, and I quite often think that comes from places because we never had that in our own childhoods, or in our own lives growing up, in various degrees, and then so you want to be able to give back, and as we've both said it now, our podcast, and Sal's just said it now, you want to give someone that space that we never had as kids, and we never had that space, or the things that we had to learn, so you want to help blokes out so they don't have to go down the same dark paths that we've had to trod at times, to be able to get that learning. And the only thing that I'll add to that is my best mate down in Sydney. Him and I were talking about things like this the other day, and because he's trod the similar boards to what we have as well, through not just career but also with relationships and things, and from his parents, and then into his first marriages, and all that sort of thing too. So he's learned the hard way with a lot of things, and he was saying that. And I agree with this to a degree, because if you didn't have to learn it, you wouldn't know it. And then if you didn't know it, then would it really bother you? And then that's where you see blokes that are older that are henpecked to the shithouse by their missus. And I don't mean that in a disrespectful way. I'm talking about ones that have been in relationships like we've had, and they've sold their soul because they don't know any different. They've never questioned anything. So they become like broken old fellas that are absolutely busted, and would rather go to the pub and sit there all day than be at home with their missus. And they're just busted because they've got nothing left. And because they've never had to learn that lesson for whatever reason, or the lesson's been there and they haven't identified it to learn the lesson. So that's where, with the things that we do, is to try and help guys identify them lessons that are coming, or the identify the things that might stick up. Because how many red flags, like the amount of red flags that we've been thrown at us, you'd think we're in a bullfight, but we've missed every single one of them until a certain point. So if we can bring even just awareness to blokes before they get to that point, and then on the opposite side of that red flag, if they haven't seen the red flag and they've gone straight through, hit the brick wall, then you go, righto, now how can we help you get in a bit more, a better headspace, and how we can pick you up from that, because we've learned from our own experiences to be able to pick ourselves up and run with it. So how can we do that for you? And that's where, as we've gone through all our intros, we've all had times when we've been on our asses, and we've had to learn how to do it quite oftentimes there's been plenty. There's never been anyone around, so that's why we want to create this space where there's someone around to pick you up and really bring it forward. And even with the podcast, it's more identifying different things that we know work, things that we research that may or may not work, and things we can beta test and things too, and go righto. Oh, pardon me. These are the things that we can trial, and then see how they go and what kind of richness that works. And we go, oh, okay, well, this worked for me. I was maybe not running like Dave Goggins style, running every day, but I go for a light jog every day, and then once a week I'll go for a big long one.
No, his name's Sully. His name's Sully. No,
yeah. You know what? I'd love to see. I'd love to see the two of them together in a room, and just to see who's got the not just the bigger engine, but the most grit. Because that's one thing that plenty of blokes in the world don't have these days is grit, and that's something that can't be taught or learnt. It's in you, and I'd like to see who's got the bigger grit between him and Goggins, and I reckon Sull might have him.
Don't know about
Yeah.
that. Compared to being compared to him, let's just stop it right there. But going back to what you were saying with the stuff about reignite, well, I'm just thinking, where does it come from? Like Aussie culture has dictated. What's the number one? It just come to me there. The number one thing that you say when you're growing up, if something happens, she'll be right, mate. Don't worry about it. She'll be right. What's the other one they use? Oh, I had it in my head just a minute ago, but it was like that. It was like, don't worry about it. Everything will be happy days. And that's how it was when you're growing up. There wasn't any. If you spoke up, dead set, you get called a weak.
Mm-hmm.
That word.
I did find it in the last one and took it out.
Yeah, thanks. You get called that.
Yeah.
And the number one thing that I want to do, or I want to do, is to teach my boys that they can speak up.
100%.
And for them to come through and have a group or a friend base that they have, like growing up, that they can do that. If you got that, like, you're way ahead of the game. The reason why I say this, because I've already broken my eldest daughter, because of no, it's not funny. It's because of the way that I were trying to work out who I were and how to negate the stuff that I got from the environment of the cops. She copped the full brunt of that, and I spoke to her the other day about it, and virtually apologized, and she's gone, well, everyone does the best you can with what you got, but if you don't know, you just don't know. So that sort of took a bit of heat off the shoulders, because I've always gone, shit, I broke my daughter, and it's taken into her adulthood what the way that I were with her, or just the way that I spoke around the place, or the way that I'd go from 0 to 100, the tone, and not even realizing that, yeah, it's one of those things that sticks with us, that I'd like to get a grip of. It's still not quite right. In the home, we're all not perfect. We're not here to try and make out that we've got all these scenarios and hacks and shit to on point, especially around the organization and all that sort of stuff. We got routines and things that we stick to, but we're only human. We all fall off the wagon, and we've got to jump back on it. But we just keep getting that bit better every day. That's all that we've got to do. We've got to keep asking ourselves that question, have I achieved today? What did I do today that I'm happy with that I did? And whether it's for yourself, whether it's for your family, whether it's for your job, we can't just sit there in limbo and go through the motions. I don't think we could do that anymore, or anyone has the time to do that. I think you've got to be onto it. You got to be trying to make yourself better than you were. If you're not, well, what are we here for? What?
Well, and you're on the money there, Sol. There was when we had meetings years and over the last couple of years or years ago, and I used to liken stuff like what you're saying right now to blokes that I know are still sitting in the pub that used to sponsor our footy team, and they're in the same chair that they were in 2004, and they were in there in 1999, and they're probably there in 1979 for truth be told, because they've never done anything to change anything. I think sometimes that is a case of they're not actually aware of it, or they're aware of it, but they just don't know how to change anything, or they don't want to change anything because they're happy with their box. I'm the same as you. We get a finite amount of time in this body, in this realm. So why would we not do something every day to try and make a change for us to be better for someone else, ourselves, or being able to teach the kids, especially, on better ways to do things? And where you said there about the questions, and you question yourself and you go, oh, look, what have I been able to do something better today than I did yesterday? It doesn't matter what it is. It could be running 10 seconds quicker on a 2K run. It could be um, just not exploding at the kids when they're being assholes. Like it could be in finding better ways to navigate that themselves as well, and teaching them how to navigate that. But a lot of that comes, and I do this when I put the kids to bed at night time, and I ask them a few questions. And one of the questions is, what was your favorite part of the day? And I form it like it's a bit of a shit sandwich. So that way they've got something good to start, something a bit shit in the middle, and then they've got something good to finish it. And then we ask what's going to happen tomorrow. So you go, what's something good that happened today, or something you enjoyed? The next one is something that you did that can be done differently tomorrow, or you could have done differently today. Not better, because then that you don't want to instill that sort of failure thing within them and go, oh look, I fucked up all day. Like, but you go, okay, what's something you could have done differently? And you go, well, I could have done these things, and we all have them days ourselves. The kids are no different because they're just mini projections of us, and they're learning the same as we are. They're just on a more micro scale, and they learn 10 times much more than what we have to, because you're little and you got to learn it all. So then it's what is it something you could have done differently today? And the last one's generally what made you laugh today, or what made you feel good today, or did you do something to make someone else feel good today? So the third one's always a variation of those three, and just to make them think about how they went for the day, and then what they not just brought to the table, but what they did to be able to think past what they normally do, rather than just playing games and hitting each other with sticks.
Hmm. The if people are listening to this, which we hope, but the number one thing there, Drew, is having those conversations before you put the kids to bed, because that is the best time to talk to kids, because guess what? They don't want to fucking go to bed, but
No.
they'll talk like shit to
Yeah.
stay awake
Yep.
and to stay alive in the game.
Oh
Okay,
yeah.
because they're fighting it, right?
Yeah.
But it's where you get all the gold.
Mm.
Those 5 minutes before bed are so crucial. It's so easy just to go, oh, see you later, go to bed,
Mm.
because I've got 10 minutes left on Netflix. I'm watching a movie, you know what I mean? Or whatever.
Yeah.
Or I've got to go and get back on this app or whatever. I'm looking at something, blah, 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 you know.
Mm.
And those conversations are just, it's the best time ever.
Mm.
I got told that a while ago, but it's true. They just want to talk and talk and talk. I've missed the boat with the boys and my daughter, but me youngest one, me Zara, far out. She's just can't comes out like 400 mile an hour. So good.
Mate, it's like
And
machine gun fire. I've seen her
it
wound
is.
up.
Oh, mate. It's like, it's just rapid.
Well,
And
even
you
same
interrupt her, or if you give her something that she's not real, doesn't like, look out. The old Scorpio stinger comes straight over and whacks you on the head. She's funny, and
Oh, mate, she's the classic,
she knows what she wants.
and she lets you know about
Mm.
it too.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm a bit lost now. Don't know don't know where to go. But I guess
Well, is there anything you want to add with in respect to changes you've brought about at home that have benefited the family that we can sort of pass on, or something that the guys that are listening now will eventually learn about, not just yourself, but how that themselves and even us in a smaller degree, to be able to go, right, oh, these are the things these guys are trying or they're doing,
mm,
and they've had reasonable success with that, to be able to turn some shit around in their life.
well, there is, and one thing I like to when I talk to guys is like they're caught in the rut, as you know. We're caught in the rut. We're going to work. We're coming home. We're cooking tea. We're cleaning up and going, fuck, I've got to get to a point where everyone's in bed and I've got this still silence just for me. And you're sitting there going, okay, what do I do? But the number one thing that I found is that aside, you you get stuck doing that. Some people for years, and as you said before, you just keep sitting on the bloody on the on the tread wheel, on the bloody what's the mouse on the wheel, and
Mhm.
just keep going over and over and over again on that. But the thing that changed it for me was, what is it that you like to do
Mm.
for you? What is it? Because guess what? I can straight away say everyone that's on that hamster wheel, they had something that they used to enjoy and they used to love to do, and they've given it away. And that's the root cause of things to get that flame going again.
Mhm.
And that's what I like to tap into to find out that I'm giving me secrets away now. Um, but to find out what it is they used to love doing. Well, what was it? Did they like running? Did they like going on a hike? Did they like riding a bike? Did
Mm.
they like, all these things that they gave up
Mm.
for family, for the wife? But what is it that you can give back to you? Because you is what matters. You're the one you've got to deal with inside your own head. You
Yep.
know, you've got to satisfy you
Mm.
before you can really satisfy anyone else.
Mm.
So, yeah, you still got an ear, Benny.
Thanks, mate. No,
Yeah,
just,
I know I've been chewing the hell out of it on
just
this
hearing.
side of the
Just that's
microphone,
why I've
mate.
got headphones on, mate. So they're
Yeah,
fucking keeping me in my
yeah.
head.
Well,
I
that'd be
always
hot.
wonder. I wonder why we keep our greetings short and sweet. It's just he's off into the car park. So yeah, Dole's chewed my ear off again for another half an hour. But
Bloody
but
hell, bugger
yeah,
off, mate. We had a good run the other day. It was a good hour and 40-minute chat.
it was, wasn't
Yeah.
it? It was. But finding that thing that you can go and do that gives you an escape instead of trying to find an escape during your normal part of the day. Because as soon as you drop the ball in that day, in that environment, oh, someone's going to tell you. Someone's going to tell you about it. And then you're going to get pissed off. And then you're going to get, right, all I do is this shit every day.
Mhm.
The same shit over and over and over and over again. Okay, what have I got to do? I've got to change something up here. I've got to go for a run. Shit, go for a run. All of a sudden, you're thinking about everything else but running.
Mm.
Running becomes a thing. It might be a riding a bike, might be a walk. Who knows?
Yeah,
Might be 10 pin bowling. I don't know. Whatever. But you got to find the thing that drives you. so that you can be better. That sort of, this is a, pardon the pun, but ignites a flame within yourself to be better or to do something that you used to love. Because everyone knows, or everyone, when you're sitting in that environment, you sit there and go, far out. I remember when I was 25, fuck, it was easy. Life was so easy. I was doing this shit. There was no that and this. But it was because you were doing shit,
Mm.
doing shit you loved, not doing shit that was grinding.
And you just got to find that time to do it. And you go, right, here's what's the time that's going to do it, that's going to maximize my enjoyment in that adventure. And then, but without taking too much away from everything else that you got to do, but still slate that time aside for yourself. And that's where a lot of people struggle to be able to understand where to put that time as well.
It's easy to find that time if you have a good look at what you're doing. You're saying before, turn the fucking phone off for half an hour.
Yeah.
Turn the television off. Just find something that's going to give you peace and turn your endorphins on. Like something that's make you warm and fuzzy inside. And as you said, so it could be a walk, could be a talk, could be a sitting and cuddling the missus, or could be chasing the dog down the street, whatever. Just find.
Well, let's most of the time. Well, let's be real. Like most of the time, it's got to do with your self-worth and what you are now compared to what you used to be. So you look at it and you go, okay, how did I get to be 25 kilos more than I used to be? I used to do this and that. Well, sometimes it'll be an easy fix. You go, oh, because I used to do X amount of bike riding, or I used to footy train or do whatever, and then I've stopped. We've got the deficit going on, right? But
others, you just sit and eat your feelings.
Yes, but if that's the case, okay, why wouldn't we be going, okay, so maybe I need to think about what I'm eating and about nutrition and about how to best fuel my body. What's the best things for me? But you know what we don't? We go, fuck me. I've seen the new Range Rover 2024 and it's got the best fucking features ever. It's got all these different things, bells and whistles and shit like that, but we're not willing to put that time and effort into us, which is disturbing.
It is. All right, mate, let's go. Come on, go in a pub. We'll just have a couple of skewies and whack 50 in the pokies. And then next time you hear talking to the same bloke, it's like, oh, I've got no fucking money. The kids are whinging, the missus is whinging, we're broke.
Yeah.
Well, hang on, mate. You just told me you just bought fucking 2 boxes of piss here. You bought fucking pizzas and shit and put 200 in the pokies.
Yeah.
Mate, I added up pretty quickly. That's 450, 500 bucks, you know?
I can say this because I'm a tradie, but those brickies laptops need to go, mate. Those bloody tradies laptops, they got to go. The slappers, far out. I don't know. I cringe. They're up there. I'm telling you, they're up there in my top 3 with people not putting their shopping trolleys back at the shops right now.
Mate, don't worry. I was at the shops the other day, right? And where we parked, like Sam always parks in the furthest car park from the shop because someone's going to touch the car, and they usually do. But anyway, so I pushed this trolley all the way over, put the groceries out, and it started pissing rain. And the freaking the trolley station is like 250, 300 meters. And I'm thinking, I could just put it here. And then I've just got Sully's voice in my background going, put your fucking trolley away, you idiot.
No, I'm not joking. It was only 2 days ago, right? I've gone into Southport Park here on the Gold Coast, and I've walked to put my trolley back in, right? My Aldi trolley, get me coin back out of, right? And here's the trolley bay, just stuffed with all different trolleys in different sizes and shit all over the place. I had to fish out 4 trolleys just to get my Aldi trolley in there so I could get me coin back. Right? this bloke walks up, and the poor bloke, oh, mate, I'm sorry if you're ever listening to this, but, mate, you copped an earful from me. He's walked in, he goes, don't worry about it, mate. Just throw it in there. They'll fix it up. And I went, you're one of them. He goes, what? I went, you're one of those. You're one of those trolley bastards that just goes and leaves their trolleys and just stuffs them in the hole that just caused all this shit that I'm looking at. And he's going, yeah, whatever, mate. I said, yeah, right. Have a good day, mate. See ya.
I'm never going to the shops with him, Drew.
Yeah, oh, no way. I reckon it's going to be one of them things like we used to do at work at Christmas time when you got to go to Bunnings for something. So you whip over to Bunnings and you park in the car park there. And not everyone has to go. So one bloke will go, everyone else stays. Christmas time is the best for that because you sit back and you watch people trying to jam their shit inside their cars and they're trying to fit a length of 4x2 that's 4.2 meters long into a Toyota Hyundai Getz.
Yeah.
They're trying to jam that in and they can't work out how it's going to work and what's going on. It's the best. And so this would be very similar to that. It's like sitting in a boat ramp on a long weekend.
Yeah,
it is.
It'd be entertaining just to watch Sull into people with trolleys.
We'll just tail him to the shopping centre.
Oh, yeah, we'll have to.
Mate, I've seen at Bunnings, right? I've seen someone at Bunnings buy like 4.6 meter lengths of sticks, like 30 by 70, right? And tie them onto the roof, right? And I've walked up there and I'm going, mate, your car looks like a matchbox car with paddle pop sticks stuck to the top of it. I said, I don't think doesn't look real good. And he goes, what do you mean? I said, well, what are you doing with the sticks? I said, couldn't you get them delivered or something? And he goes, nah, I've put them on there so I can go get some other shit to put on the roof.
Oh, Jesus.
So I went, this is gold. This is gold. I'm going to go and get a sausage and I'm going to sit here and wait for this prick to come back. Right? So I'm sitting there, wait for him. You know what he comes back with? A great big whopping plastic outdoor setting that he sits on top of the sticks and then ties it off onto that. I've just went, mate, you are a genius.
Far
That's
out.
engineering at its best, mate.
Oh, isn't it?
Yeah, we could probably do an episode just on Bunnings car parks. I'm telling you straight up.
Yeah. Well, we won't.
Or shopping centres.
We won't. We'll wind this one up and then we'll go from there, I think. Is there anything else you wanted to add, Sal?
Nah. Just that finding your own thing and then working out how you're gonna implement that into your day is key to everything. And number one is nutrition. You know, my Maori grandmother, who I respected so much with so many old sayings, and the number one saying was, if your gut's full, if your puku's full, everything's going to be okay. So with that, the nutrition is key. Like there's that gut brain link, and let's just say a lot of stuff seemed a lot easier and a lot clearer with that. Just that alone gives you the capacity to reassess things and, you know, not be as stressed pretty much.
100%. We'll dive into that one further too, one episode as well.
100%. Yeah. But yeah, that's me. There's a lot more that goes in there, but let's just keep it at that.
Yeah.
Anyhow.
Mate, that was a stellar job. There's it hit the old emotions as well, just quietly. There's a few moments there where I was there with you. But thank you for the share, mate, and letting everyone and giving everyone else the opportunity to know a little bit more about Sull.
Yeah, mate, it was awesome, and yeah, God bless you for that share, mate, because no, it's not easy, and it's not easy to be vulnerable, mate, and you know, you put it all out there, and you know, it's very touching. I reckon a lot of people get a lot out of that.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
I'm still processing.
That's okay.
Still processing.
Yeah, that's okay.
No,
Thanks, boys.
good job.
All right,
Thanks very
boys.
much.
Thanks.
Cheers. We'll see you next time on episode 4.
Yes. Thanks for
Episode
listening, guys.
4.
Yeah. Cheers.
We'll be back.
See you, mate.